One of my all-time favorite aspects of Elden Ring are the demigods. I don't think any of them have a mediocre or bad boss fights. All of them are good to excellent. So today I want to rank every single demigod of Elden Ring by their boss fight. Keep in mind, it's a very hard ranking for me to make because, like I said, I honestly love all the demigods. I think they all have fantastic boss fights, but someone has to be last, someone has to be first. So let's get into the ranking. So just to avoid any confusion, I'm going to be naming all the demigods that I'll be including on this list. So we got Godrick the Grafted, Malenia the Blade of Mikola, Morgott, Starscourge Radahn, Mohg the Lord of Blood, Rykard the Lord of Blasphemy, and Messmer the Impaler, the new addition we got with Shadow of the Earth Tree. I won't be including characters like Ronnie, Godwyn, and Malenia, because obviously I don't have any boss fights and I can't include them. And it's purely ranking the demigods based on their boss fights. I will not be factoring in lore or their story or anything like that. In last place, I have Rykard, the Lord of Blasphemy. Now, I want to say this, Rykard is an absolutely amazing fight. Him being last place is not a diss to him. I would even go as far as to say he is the best gimmick fight From Software has ever made within any of their games. Now, my problem with Rykard is actually exactly the fact that he is a gimmick fight. Even though he's a very well done gimmick fight, my favorite aspect of Elden Ring is the build variety and weapons. And being stuck using the same weapon against Rykard every time I replay Elden Ring brings down his fight. As some people may argue that you don't have to use the Serpent Hunter, you can use different weapons. But again, you are still limited on what weapon you use. Since his body's in the lava, unless you're using a far range weapon, you won't be able to hit him. And if you're in the lava while he's attacking, your chance of survival is very low, since he has an insane amount of damage. So the reason Riker is this low for me is simply because of the fact I don't like being locked behind using the same weapon over and over again. His overall moveset is still very fun and very great. And like I said, all the demigods are excellent in their own way. So even though Rykard is last place, he is still an amazing fight. Number 7, I have Godrick the Grafted. Now, what I'm about to say about Godrick may be surprising considering his placement, but I love Godrick. I think he's a perfect fight. FromSoft did a great job of making him the second mandatory boss in Elden Ring, because I don't think his moveset is too difficult, but I definitely don't think he's too easy. I think you can get him relatively quickly if you're properly prepared, but if you're not, he can be a really big pain in the butt. Now you may ask, why is he so low on the list if you're giving him constant praise? I just think the other bosses above him are better. Nothing really wrong with his fight. I just think his fight is missing the spectacle that a lot of Elden Ring fights have. His moveset isn't as complex as some of the later bosses. I mean, he's an early game boss, so it makes sense. So his own individual fight really has no problems to me at all. But it's just the fights above him have in my class, and that's why he's placed at number 7 on this list. Number 6, I have Starscourge Radahn. So Radahn's an interesting pick for two reasons. One, he has two boss fights, so I'll be including him later in this ranking, but Starscourge Radahn is number 6. Another thing is, he used to be my favorite boss in Elden Ring, but you might ask, why is he so low now if he used to be your favorite? Radahn's fight extremely hype, has a lot of spectacle to it, and has a really cool gimmick behind it with the festival. But my problem with Radahn's fight is after your first, second, and third playthrough, the gimmick of the festival kind of loses its charm and hype. And his moveset, while good, is not one of the best in Elden Ring, so once the charm of the festival is gone, there isn't much to cling on to. Number 5, I have Morgott. Now, Morgott is actually my favorite character in Elden Ring, but this isn't based on character, it's just purely based on boss fight. And Morgott has an excellent boss fight too. I would say is interchangeable with number 4, but yeah, so far he's number 5. So my problem with Morgott isn't his moveset. I honestly believe his moveset is perfect. I absolutely adore it. My problem with Morgott is his placement. I feel like no matter what, unless I'm deliberately trying to be under leveled, I'm always over leveled for him. No matter what build I use, no matter what weapon I'm using, I always feel like I overpower him. And I love doing challenges with Elden Ring boss fights, and Morgott hasn't given me that feeling of a challenge in a long time, because like I said, I always feel like I'm over leveled for him. So even though I love his moveset, I can't put him any higher because of that. Number 4, I have Mohg, the Lord of Blood. Now, these top 4 are incredibly hard for me to rank because I actually adore them all. They're all up there with my favorites, and my ranking could change tomorrow, but today, this is what I'm feeling for Mohg. I absolutely love Mohg's fight. I think he's a very challenging fight if you don't have the right items for him, but I think he can be an incredibly fun fight. Almost all his attacks are delayed, and you can't assess how long his attacks are, and that creates a certain charm to the tempo of the fight. that I really enjoy. Overall, Mohg to me is a perfect fight that I absolutely adore. The only reason he's not higher on the list is simply because I prefer the higher options, but he is perfect. Number 3, I have Malenia. Now, Malenia is an interesting boss because the opinions people had on her has shifted over the years. I know a lot of people used to not like her at all. They used to she has artificial difficulty, and people have grown to like her a lot more, and that's really nice to see. She's the boss that I've honestly always loved, so it's nice to see people praising her. Of course, Waterfowl has annoyed me multiple times. I know it has annoyed everyone, but at this point, 2 years later from Elden Ring, I know how to dodge it consistently. Sure, do I get hit? Of course, but it doesn't kill me. The main thing Malenia has going for her is I just have so much fun fighting her. Like, she's a boss that every single time I fight her, I still get the excitement as I fought her the first time. It's just a fight I always look forward to, even though she's not perfect. She does have some things that would change about her. I think she's so great. So this is the most controversial pick on this list, but number 2, I have Promised Consort Radahn as the second best demigod fight. Absolutely love this fight, man. I don't know where to start about it. I understand the complaints with the people that have FPS drops. That's 100% a valid complaint, and that needs to be addressed immediately by From Software. I know some people say there's too much going on. Again, I respect that take too. To me, I love that there's a lot going on. It's very fun to me, especially because I don't experience any FPS drops. The people say that he's broken. I do disagree with that. I feel like all his moves are fair. Like, I've even trying to get a no hit on him, and haven't had any problems with any of his moves specifically. I'm like, okay, that's not fair. I really enjoy all his moves. He actually has my favorite OST in the whole franchise. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I do have some complaints about him. I don't think he's a perfect fight. My main complaint is I do wish he went into the second phase a little bit later. I feel like for how much of a difficulty jump the second phase is from the first phase, he goes into a little too soon. I wish he went into a like 50% exactly. He goes into a like 35 to 40%, which I think is a little too early. And the FPS drops obviously need to be addressed. But outside of those two complaints, he's genuinely a perfect fight to me. Number 1, I'm sure it's a shock to no one, I have Messmer the Impaler. Absolutely love this fight. I've seen some people say it's the best fight in the franchise. And honestly, I'm inclined to agree. I love this fight. It's my current favorite boss fight in Souls. Can that change? Definitely. I have a lot of contenders that could become my favorite. But as of right now, Messmer is my favorite. He just has such a nice moveset. He's not too hard. In this clip, I'm literally doing a no-hit on him. So he's not too hard, but he's fun. He's fun in the challenging kind of way. I don't think there's any moves he has that are unfair or annoying. His moveset flows very well. The whole fight feels like a dance. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't have much else to say about him. I just think he's the perfect fight. Thank you to everyone that watched this video. Let me know if you agree with the ranking, if you disagree, and that's it. Thank you.